Welcome. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to be looking at Linux and Windows equivalent command line. You can find part 1 on the All Things Cyber YouTube channel. And these commands are to help you learn how to navigate the system, how to gather information about your system, and how to navigate the system to find files, create folders, create files, and change permissions on files. Now, I'm going to start with the equivalent of recycling between commands. So I'm going to start by, on the Windows system, I'm going to use the up arrow key to go through previously entered commands. Okay. How do you do that in Windows? It's the same thing. You want to move up through commands. Okay. Now, the next one is, how do I list the content in a folder in Linux? So to do that, I'll do a ls and enter, and it displays the content of this folder. So it's the name cyberboss lib folder, and these are the contents in there. On the Windows machine, it is dir, and it will display the content of the administrator folder. Very useful when you're investigating a system, or you are trying to, if you run into a situation where your GUI environment crashed and you have to salvage your files, you can basically boot directly into the command line and be able to move your data to an external drive. The next thing is, you want to create folders. That is, some people are very organized, so every project they are working on, they want to create a folder and keep the content in it. Okay. For investigators, they want to see what is on the system and what is in the folder, so they'll have to learn how to navigate the system. So in Linux, to create a folder is the mkdir command followed by the name of the folder. So I'm working on some clients activities, so I'm going to save it. The file is already there, so I'm just going to call it client 1. And then the same command, you can use that on a Windows machine, like directory clients 1, and we have that. Okay. The next thing is giving permission. Giving permission on a system is very crucial, because if you give permission to a file and everybody can access that file and it was not intended for everyone to access, that could spell a disaster on your system. So permission is given to allow certain users on the system to have access to a particular file. So in Linux, I'm going to clear the screen. In Linux, you use the chmod to create to set permission rather. But before I do that, I want to do a ls tag l to list the content of the directory in a vertical format. And if you look in the first column and you look at this file called part.py, this file has some interesting things in the first column, and they are divided into 3 separate areas. So you got the RW, which is the permission for the owner, the person that created the file. And the owner automatically has a group. Everybody in that group get read permission, so they can only read the content of the file. Others that are not in the group get to read the content also. Now, if you look at the file in green, you have some interesting things in there. The owner can execute it, so it's RWX. The group can only read it. No, the group can read and execute it, and others can execute it. So this is not too good of a permission. You can tweak that. But now, what is arrow? The numeric value for arrow is 4. The numeric value for write is 2. And the numeric value of execute is 1. So when you add all 3 of these, you get 4 to 1. Now you can also use alphabetic characters. Also, arrow, read, W, write, X, execute. So with chmod, I will have to be a sudo user on the system. That is, to have rights to be able to run certain commands, because those commands can be dangerous to the system. So sudo chmod now, if I make the file all 777 and I go and change, let's say hpart, right? And do hpart.py and enter my password and do a ls tag L to display the content, you'll see what I've done to this file. The owner got read, write, execute. The group has read, write, execute, and the others have read, write, execute. Now, if I want to restrict this file, I can come back in here and make this 644. And when I do a ls tag L, the file now is owner read, write, group read, others read. If I don't want others to have access to their file, I can come back in here and make this 640. And when I do a tag ls tag L, you see that others don't have access to the file. So permission is very important. Now, how do we do it in Windows? So I'm going to look at a file that I got on the system called hello.txt. Right? If I look at this file right here through the GUI environment and right click on it and click security, you will see that they have denied write to everyone. The administrator got full access, but any other person, they have denied write access to their file. Okay, so they can only read the content, right? So let's look at that. So the write access to everyone effectively make the file read only. All right. So now I'm going to go into the Windows machine and I'm going to grant everyone full access to this file. So what I'm going to do is in Windows, you use the command icacls. The name of the file is hello.txt. And I'm going to grant everyone and full access, F. And press the enter key. Now when I go back to this file and do properties on it and do security, see that everyone has full access to this file. So permission can be a very good and a bad thing. Good if you know what you are doing, bad if you don't know what you are doing. Let's continue. On the Windows, on the Linux system, if you want to run a command, right? And that command needs some form of elevation, some power user, and some account with administrative rights, you can use the sudo to run the command, right? And you can also run the command as another user. You can look at the man page if you want to see information about sudo. You can look at the command manual man page to look at what it does. Like for example, if I wanted to run a command that require root privileges, I will have to use a sudo. Okay. And for Windows, you're going to use runas. So I just did that. I wanted to change the permission on this file. So I had to use sudo with this command for it to be successful. So if I remove this right now, see that? Changing permission of this is not permitted because this command has to be used with an elevated account, and sudo will allow me to do that. Okay, so with let's see, with Windows, let's look for run as tag question, and the format is run as the user name and the program. So you can do that. So these are examples here. Run as username notepad. Okay, and these are different examples you can run. So let's look at cd. cd will allow you to change directory. Okay, so let's assume I'm going to do a ls tag l, and I have the folder here called clients1. So to go into the folder clients1 that is in the cyberboss lib folder, I'll do a cd clients1. So it's almost like it's s rather. It's almost I'm entering the building and I see the lobby, I see the elevator, and clients one is the lobby, so I'm entering the lobby, right? So CD would do that for me. On the Windows machine, same thing applies. So at first I want to display the contents of the folder to ensure that the folder is in there, and I do CD clients 1, and then I can get in there. So dir ls won't work, and shows in there, right? So if I do CD period dot dot, I'm going back to the parent. So CD dot dot will take me to the parent. So the parent for clients 1 is administrator. The same thing can be applied to Linux. CD period dot dot is the parent. So the parent for client is cyberboss lib. So now let's assume you want to edit content from the command line. You want to edit a file, right? In Linux, you have different types of editor. You may have, depending on the distro you are using, you may have Vim, you may have Nano. So I love using Nano. So if I want to create a file, I'll have to do sudo nano followed by the name of the file. So the file I want to create is hello everyone .txt. Press the enter key, and this is nano. It's not that fun, but you can type. You can use this to write things like Python script. You can use this to write other kinds of script and stuff like that. Okay. So I'm just gonna type, yeah. I'm typing too fast now. And then I'm gonna save that. Okay. To exit is Control X. For those who use WordStar way back in the day, you basically had an interface almost like that. In Windows, way back in the day, we used to use something called copycorn with the name of the file. And then you type what you want to type. And then when you get to a blank line and you want to exit, save the file, you press F6. Or Control D, one of them. D. Control D. Yes. Let me see what I'm doing. I need to get my TF. Let me see. It's not working in there. Let me do a Control C. All right, so let me see what I'm doing here wrong. It's not taking my F6. It should be F6. All right, let's see. let's see, copy con. Let's see what it's gonna tell me. Either my stuff is not doing the right thing. Is switch pen. It should be F6. Let me see what I'm doing wrong. Yes, it's F6. Yes. Okay. So in Windows, if I want to see the content of that file now, is hello world. And you see the content. So I could create a file from the command line, or text file from the command line, without even having to go into a tool like Notepad. So if I want to do Notepad, use Notepad from the command line, all I have to do is type Notepad, and it's going to open Notepad. And then I can type and save my file. Right? I can also use echo, followed by this is a great day. And then I can send the output to a file and call it great day. When I do a dir, I will see that great day was created. How can I see the content of great day? Type great day, and it'll show me the content of the file. How do I see the content of the file in Linux? I can use cat followed by the name of the file, and I'll see the content. So the cat equivalent in Linux is the type equivalent. All right. So what next? Copy command. If I want to copy a file in Windows, I can use copy followed by the name of the file. So let's assume great day. If I want to copy it in the same folder, then I'm going to give it a new name, call it great day. I'm going to give it a new name, call it great day 1. So when I do a dir, you see that I made a copy of this file. In Linux, I'm going to use cp. Now you'll see what's going to happen if this is a command that will require me to have some elevated privilege. So if I do copy hello, and I want to copy it in the same location but give it another name, call it new hello, it allows me to do that. So when I do a ls tag L, you'll see I have a file called new hello, and it has 12 bytes of data. So if I want to see that, the content of that file, I'll say cat new hello, and that's what is in that file. You can also copy directories recursively. That is, you can copy the directory with everything in it. So to do that, you're going to be using, in Linux, you're going to be using copy followed by the option R, right? So let's list the content of the folder to find. I have this folder called word list, right? So I want to see what is in word list. So I'm going to change to word list. I'm going to go in there like I'm entering a building. And I'm going to look at the content. So I have 3 things in there, right? So I'm going to get out of there and go back to the parent. And I'm going to do cp tag arrow. The name of the folder is word list, right? And I'm going to copy the folder with all the contents in it in the same location, but I'm going to call it word list 2. When I do a ls tag l, you see that I got the folder called word list 2, and it will have everything that is in word list 1. So let me see my spelling bad. Word cd word list 2, not s, no s in there. And I'm in there, and when I do a ls tag l, you will see that those files are there. Let's see whether we can do that for the Windows machine. Let's see whether we have xcopy on this system. So yes, we have xcopy on the system. So with the /s, you can copy directories and subdirectories except empty ones. Okay, so except empty ones. So let's do a dir in there. Let's see whether we have something in the documents folder. Let's do a dir documents. Let's see what we have in there. We have 1 file in there, so we can do that, right? So I'm going to do xcopy followed by the /s, and I'm going to do documents, that folder, and I'm going to call it documents 1. And they asked me whether it is a directory, so I said D, and you see that it did that. So when I do a dir, you'll see that I got another folder called documents 1. When I do a dir documents 1 to see the contents, you'll see I have the file in it. Now if I do a dir followed by documents, I see that I've made a duplicate copy of that folder, right? Okay, so there's another command, move command, and you apply the same, do that for an assignment, and then make a comment. So move in Linux is mv, right? So I'm going to come back to the parent folder. I'm going to display the content in the parent folder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this file called test.php and put it in the word list folder. Right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say move test.php, which is the file, and I'm going to put it in the word list folder. And if I list the content of the word list folder, I will see that test.php is in there. Let's see what we can do in the Windows machine. dir rather. So I'm going to take grid day and put it in the documents folder, right? So the command is move grid day, and I'm going to put it in the documents folder. One file move. When I display the content of the documents folder, I will see that grid day has been moved there. Right? So if you want to install, if you want to view the processes running on your system, this is very good, because if you want to investigate your system, maybe something is slowing down your system and you want to see what kind of processes are running on your system that could be hogging your system performance. In Linux, use PS, show you the processes. Now you can look at PS tac help to see more options. Okay, let me do man PS rather. Sorry about that. And it will show you the different options of that comes with the process. To see every process on your system, you can use this. To see the process in a process tree, that is more graphical, and I'm going to copy this, do quick. I'm going to clear the screen because we're going to have some things going on. And press the enter key, and you see the process. See that? And you see all the process running on the system. So now if you see something that should not be running on your system, you can kill that process. So the process has a number, and you can use the kill command to do that. You got a process ID, and you can use the kill command followed by the process ID to kill the process. For Windows, we have the task list command. So when you do that, it'll show you all the processes running on the system. And they have process ID. So now if you see a process that is suspicious and it's kind of causing your machine to not perform as it should, you can do that. Now the next thing I want to show you is redirection. Now, every time we run a command, we show it to the screen. Now, if I wanted this report to go directly to a file, I would then add a redirection symbol here, which is the greater than sign. Oh, come on. The greater than sign, followed by the name of the report file. I'm going to call it task list report. And I press the enter key. And if I go now and display the contents of that file, you will see that the contents is stored in the file. And this, I can use this for reporting purposes. You do the same thing in Linux. So if I want to run the last command. So I'm going to do ps followed by that command by the options, but I want it to a file and call it process report. Press the enter key, it is in there. If I want to view the content of process report, you see that the content was stored in it. Now, the final command is to shut down the system. So to shut down in Linux, I'll do shutdown. And now it's going to do a countdown, but I'm going to do shutdown now. I want it down now. Okay. For Windows, I'm going to do shutdown. And it's one word. Sorry about that. Now, I'm going to shut down now. Let me see what it's saying here. Okay, this is the server, so it's going to shut down. All right. It wanted me to say why I was shutting down, but I'm not in for that right now. So this is part 2 of the command line Linux equivalent and Windows command equivalent. And this should help you learn how to move around the Windows operating system command line and the Linux operating system command line. Okay, there are lots of commands that as you learn Linux and Windows, you will start to grasp while learning the operating systems. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.